G'day everybody, Ed here and welcome to day 17. It's a very important day today because we're going to show you, I suppose, some strategic thinking. Why are we doing the things that we've been doing so far? Because it's been a lot of work and maybe there are some easier ways to get traffic. For example, pay-per-click. For those of you who have the financial resources, pay-per-click is the fastest way to get you traffic. Trouble is there's a price to be paid. Google uses something called the quality score, something you're going to become very familiar with over the next few days. Now, in last year's 30-day challenge, we actually did something which pioneered a technique which has been going on to be proven and actually publicly announced by Google themselves to be the smartest way to get the best quality score. How do we do that? It's by indexing and getting ranking for your page before you do pay-per-click advertising. Typically, what people used to do is they just simply go and create a site, throw a pay-per-click ad at it, and of course Google never seen it before, so it gave it a poor quality rating. Now, because of all the work that you've done, you're going to get the best possible price for a new campaign that you can get in the niche that you're in because you're indexed and ranked. This is a huge deal. It saves a lot of money. So again, in the 30-day challenge, at the end of the day, there are two resources available to us. Resource one is very simply time. Everybody has that exact same amount of resources. And then there is money. Now, if time is your only resource and you have no money resources, then you have to look at continuing on going, creating articles and doing that work, trading your resources, your article creation, your backlinking, and you're trading time to get traffic. If you have some financial resources available to you, then we're going to show you how to use those in the smallest amount of possible way, using the tiniest amount of resources you possibly can to get that traffic. And we're going to show you that. But today, I want to show you the gamut of all the different traffic methods so you can get a full understanding of why we're doing what we're doing. All right, let me show you on screen what's going on. Okay, so you can see you're going to get more of my lovely artwork today. But really this here, what you're seeing in front of you, is the basics of any internet business. And I've actually said, in truth, actually any business, because as I've always said, the business is made up of 4 parts: market research, which we've well and truly covered, but then there is the traffic, conversion, and then hopefully at the end of that you create a product which makes you some money. And that's where I've come up with this incredibly profound first law of business, and that is that we want more money coming in every month than goes out. It's amazing how often that's overlooked, let me tell you. So let's have a look at each of these parts in a little bit of detail. First, let's have a look at traffic. Now you can see here traffic is, I've got the magic number 200. We want to make sure that the traffic is around 200 people a day. That's where we want to build up to. It's not going to be like that at the start. You're going to need to build up to that, and obviously we've shown you one method for doing that, social networking, and we'll be showing you a new method to do that. It may take a combination methods, one method, but that's what we want to get to at first, because remember, if I can sell 1 in every 200 people, that's bad conversion, right? But I love to use bad numbers. I'd much rather use really bad numbers and then be pleasantly surprised, rather than do what the vast majority of people going into business do, is use overly optimistic numbers and then genuinely be disappointed. So it makes sense to really base all of our calculations on really poor numbers. Now, I want those 200 people coming to my conversion engine. Now, what's that? The conversion engine could be a few different things. Obviously, the first one that we've seen is our blog, and our blog going to an affiliate offer. Now, traditionally, this is not the most efficient way to sell something, but it's a good way to start out testing the market. So that's what we've done. That's one possibility. People collect emails, for example, to capture email of people who are interested in your particular marketplace, and then be able to sell them through an email autoresponder sequence. That's another way of doing it. Of course, you could have a traditional old sales letter, which you may have seen around the internet. Many different ways. You may have a shop or an e-shop, or indeed, it may indeed be pick up the phone and call me because I do house painting in the Moonee Ponds area. They're all different examples of conversion engine. But at the end, hopefully at the end of that conversion engine, we're selling stuff, and we're selling our product or service, whatever it happens to be, and that gives us positive cash flow money, because remember that first law of business, more money comes in each month than goes out. Very, very, very important indeed. So we've obviously spent a lot of time on market research. We spent a lot of time doing a very good traffic mechanism. Let me try bring it all together and show you what we've tried to do so far. Okay, so we've done our step one, which is looking for our 200 people a day traffic. And I've said here, perhaps it should be a bumper sticker would be a good idea. So for a start, let's have a look at the different types of traffic categories. You can see here on the left, the first options are free traffic. And you can see that I've basically broken those down into two areas. Now I've called it maximum edge, and the reason I've called it maximum edge is actually the first part of the process that we've showed you is the first part of the process that we as internet marketing professionals use. It's what we teach in the immediate edge. It's I don't care whether you're trying to make your first dollar online or your first $10 million online. The process should be the same, and I'll explain why very shortly. So there's the maximum edge process, which we've started teaching you. And there's also, good old SEO and search engine optimization. In other words, getting in that left-hand side of the listings rather than the paid side of the listings. It comes down to two things, as you've heard us say again and again: on-page factors and off-page factors, stuff like links and so on. So that's where we've been so far, and we've seen that free traffic. Now you notice I've asterisk free, and there's a very good reason for that, because actually we're trading time and effort for traffic, and that's a very important thing to understand, because at the end of the day you're expending resources to get traffic. You don't get something for nothing, right? And to get this free traffic, we've had to expend a resource, and that resource is time. The other resource, of course, you can expend is paid traffic. Now, paid traffic comes in many guises, but there are three major categories. You can break them down. There is pay per click, and you might have seen those ads on the right-hand side of Google, for example. They're all ads where the people who are placing those ads pay Google an amount of money every time somebody clicks on them. It's an extraordinarily effective form of advertising. Anybody I know who is doing spectacularly well online is doing pay-per-click advertising. It's where we want to get to. And obviously Google pay-per-click is the most obvious. There are others. Yahoo has a version. Microsoft has a version for its search engine. And there's another one which emerged at the end of last year, which is Facebook demographic pay-per-click, which is hugely way cool, but way outside of the scope of the 30-day challenge. I know some people who are absolutely killing it with that Facebook demographic pay-per-click. It's just incredible, but again, we'd have to teach you Facebook as well, and we only have 30 days. But it's definitely something just to keep up in your mind as a great method of traffic. Then there are other forms of paid traffic, and I've put in here banner advertising. You've all seen those banners at the side or at the top of pages. You can buy links for people, and of course you can pay to advertise in people's emails and newsletters and so on. So why have we gone about doing things the way we have, when I've just said that I believe the most effective method of traffic is, in the end, for any business that's worth its salt, is going to be pay-per-click traffic? Let me explain why. And I've done a little chart. Don't be afraid. Don't be scared. But you can see what we've been, if you look at this chart, let's have a look. The vertical axis, as they say in the classics, represents time. And you can see at the bottom end it's short, and then at the top it's long period of time. And by long I mean, sort of 3 to 6 months sort of thing. And then, of course, on the horizontal axis, I have $0 to lots of dollars, and that is money. So at the bottom end, we've got here 0, and at the top end, we've got lots of dollars. And then what I've tried to do is map or chart on this graph the actual, where I think all of these things, basically fall into place. People may argue a little bit about placement and so on, but I think approximately this is about right. So if we have a look at, we can see with SEO at the top, which is great from a money perspective in actual shelling out money. That's, costs you near nothing, but it takes a long time. Okay, Facebook pay-per-click demographics, it requires more money, but it also takes a medium amount of time to get right. And then you see Google pay-per-click, which takes less time to get right, but it costs potentially more money. And then the others happen relatively, you can get traffic very quickly with some of these other methods, but it costs a lot of money, and often it's not performance-based advertising. It's good old traditional, cost per thousand type advertising, which freaks me out. I can't handle. I only want to pay for performance. I can't pay for survey results. It doesn't make any sense to me. And so, and I've saved the best to last, when you see with the Max Edge process, which it's our fancy pants name for what we've been doing over the last 19 days, you can see that it takes a pretty short amount of time and it takes a small amount of money, which is why we do it first. It's low risk. It makes sense to test it out early on. But now, what we're going to do, if I was to choose the next one along in terms of speed and effectiveness, there's no question for me, and you can see this on the chart, it's obvious. It's Google pay-per-click. That's going to be the next thing. So yes, folks, for the first time in 2 years, we are going to be teaching you Google pay-per-click. And I've got to say, the method that we use is pretty powerful, because you'll see that because of all the groundwork we've been doing over the past 19 days, you'll pay so much less cost per click than most people would if they just started out cold. It's a very exciting strategy, and you'll see so why we did this first. In fact, with the Vintage Electric Guitar blog, we were actually able to get Google to be, we were basically getting 6 cents a click, which is very, very, very inexpensive for what we're doing. But as you'll hear, and the lovely Cara McCordy will be taking you through the next 3 days, you have to take it very slowly. We are spending money here, folks. Okay, it's very safe to do, and you can stay absolutely in control, but we are going to start to spend some money to attract advertising. So that's why we need to make sure it's worth doing. And that's another thing the Max Edge process does. It makes us see that it's worth doing, and that in itself is really, really cool as well. We always do stuff for a reason. We do it in order for a reason. And so now when we attack pay-per-click, we do it with our eyes wide open. We already know what keywords are working for us, right? Yes, we do. And we already have optimized pages to send the Google traffic to, so Google will charge you the least amount of money because Google already knows about you. We're quite tricky, let me tell you. And that's what makes this strategy so very, very cool. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the next few days. Now, what if you haven't got any money? The 30-day challenge has always been about trying to get people started with that least amount of money possible. However, obviously if we get into pay-per-click advertising, the first P stands for pay, and unfortunately that's you paying Google. What do you do? Well, here's my advice. If you are financially challenged in any way, shape or form, just continue what we've been doing. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people before you have been very successful and made a business online, and actually then made the money to be able to afford to do pay-per-click advertising, doing exactly what you've been doing. And in fact, you've got a huge advantage because of the way we've been teaching it this year. So you can just continue doing that. Get more phrases in your niche, get more traffic, more backlinks, more articles. Just do that work, because you're trading your time, which you have, everybody's got time, as your resource instead of trading money as your resource. Now we can test Google pay-per-click quite, cost effectively. We're not going to be risking sheep stations here. But however, I'd have to acknowledge that for some people that's a real challenge. So if that's you, nothing to be ashamed of. That's not a character assessment of you. It just means that you need to rinse and repeat these next few days while we're doing pay-per-click. But keep an eye on it, because you definitely want to be making some money, stashing it away, building up a war chest so you can do pay-per-click. Because when you start to do pay-per-click, thanks to all the groundwork that you've done already, you're going to do it in such a cool way, and you're going to be paying far less than anybody else who's doing pay-per-click in your niche. We are going to bring a literal gun to a knife fight.
Yes, we'll belong and keep it strong.